Hi, welcome to the next episode of The Essence of Leadership. Today, I'm speaking with Ms. Cami Zimmer. And let me make sure I get all of her accolades correct. So, Ms. Cami Zimmer is the Chief Business Officer at Glympse, the pioneer of real-time location sharing technology for over 6 years. She's led the revenue growth objectives at the company, leading the business development, marketing, and customer success team. So with that being said, let's welcome Ms. Cami Zimmer to this series. Cami, I'm so happy that you were able to give me some of your time today to do this interview. So thank you so much.
Oh, of course. I have known you for so many years, and it's just a pleasure. This is just an honor.
Well, thank you. And I know that you are a busy woman, so let's just get down to talking about the essence of leadership. So my first question, and again, we have known each other for several years.
Mhm.
How long have you been in a leadership role?
Oh boy, I feel like that is going to date me very much. But I first, probably, gosh, I would say probably well over 30 years. I got my first, I guess, taste of being a leader by being thrown into the nonprofit or association world, which it was in my probably later part of my 20s. So Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've gone everything from nonprofit, to association to, I guess, sales to owning my own business, and then now in the software industry of managing people and managing a company. So quite a
Awesome.
bit. Mhm.
Well, I got to ask you this because you've been in it for a while. And for those who don't know, Miss Kami also has children. And she said, of course, you said you heard her say 30 years. So, Kami, now you have kids that are like 18 and in their early 20s.
Mhm.
What are, I guess, tips or insights are you sharing with people in that age bracket to kind of prepare them to transition from maybe college into that professional space?
Yeah, it's so funny. My kids, I get a little teary-eyed talking about them because I'm so proud of them. But it takes, first of all, it takes a lot of work to raise children as you're trying to be also in even just working wherever you work at, right? Or even a stay-at-home mom. It's a lot of work. So having three children over, the course of all of my career has been a great challenge. And I've given them all what I call LLs or life lessons, and what I love to do with these LLs or life lessons is also pass them on to other people as well. So it's not just so I see that leadership or managing people is so much like raising children. And
Right.
so whether my LLs go to them or go to people, younger people that are transitioning from high school to college or high school to the real world, as I call it. You don't have to go to college anymore, but the real world, or transitioning even from college or some type of schooling or what have you to the real world. All those transitions are so hard, just like any type of a movement on a job or a new challenge at a job. um so the best advice I have from this type of a generation of 18, maybe to 30, is basically to learn from as many people as you can, ask as many questions as you can, and really take upon whether it's your parents, which not everybody wants to talk to your parents, but or your parents as friends. Believe it or not, a lot of my kids' friends, young gentlemen and women, are constantly reaching out to me, asking me for advice, asking me for, do you know of anyone that is hiring, this type of an internship or this type of a role? So that's my best advice. It's pretty much, reach out to your parents as friends, your neighbors, anybody that you know to help you with your questions and what you're looking for, at whatever, I guess, place you're at in your life.
Awesome. Now that you say that, it makes me wonder. So when you have these new, I call them new and emerging leaders, right?
Mhm.
And I gave them that title, and I'm quite sure other people use it or maybe use something very similar. For me, working in the leadership development space, helping them once they make that transition, I'm catching them once they're in their quote unquote professional world, right?
Mhm.
And I'm always wondering, like, what is it that people believe leadership to be? Some of
Ooh,
them see it as a title. Some
yes.
of them see it as I get to boss people around. And I'm curious as when you have those new people show up at Glimpse, and I know you are very far removed from that level of you from being with entry levels, but when you do see them and have maybe conversations with them, what are you saying to them?
You know, it's funny that you said that because I'm really not removed at all. In fact, we're what's called maybe a I don't want to call us a startup because we're 16 years old, but I
Okay.
have one gentleman who's worked for me and he works directly for me. He is 3 years out of college and he's worked for me for 3 years. And so I've taken him, I took a chance on him because I didn't really know him. Believe it or not, because of COVID, I've never even met him in person, which is crazy. But I took a chance on him and he works for me. And what is just crazy is that, this is his first job. And so it's kind of interesting to see and hear what he's looking for. Obviously, I need it. So I'm the manager, right? And he wants to someday be a manager. And
Okay.
so what's interesting is to take the time and take I guess, the steps verbally, when we talk or when we communicate to say, what is it that you're seeing that needs to be done here that you can actually take on and learn from so that when you're in my position or when you're in some other position later on in your career, you're able to learn from that. And I think that's probably what's been fun for me because a lot of times we do have people that work for us that have, maybe 10, 20 years experience under their belts. But what's fun is when they're actually just coming out in their early 20s to learn everything that they can. They're like little sponges wanting to learn. And it's really kind of fun for me to work with that type of excitement level because they just don't know what they don't know. And so they're just not afraid to take chances. They'll just try. And it's actually actually reassuring to me that that I want to surround myself with more of those people because it's actually fun for me and it's fun for them to learn as well.
Absolutely. And I can attest to that because I've been coaching in the leadership space for 15 years.
Hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I love my C-suite people because a lot of times they have a lot of wisdom to share, different perspectives.
Sure.
But what the new and emerging leaders bring
Yeah.
is just what's happening now, right? The new thing that's changing and evolving every day. And I learned something each time I engage with them, Kami. So I definitely understand. And one thing I will add, they bring a lot of energy,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And they
It's
want
great.
to learn and they want to contribute. They have these innovative ideas, and that always makes my job fun too. So I definitely understand where you're
Hmm.
coming
Very true.
from. Now, I'm wondering about, challenges or setbacks you may have had on your journey.
Hmm.
How did you deal with them? Because you also added that you had 3 kids
Oh,
during this time.
yeah. Some days is a hot mess. And there have been so many challenges and so many setbacks. And just even your question makes me kind of tear up a little bit because I think that everybody does have challenges and setbacks. What I've learned, and I've had personal challenges and setbacks within, family members passing away or, people getting sick or just challenges in general. So there's challenges that surround everything that we do, whether it's raising children while working or dealing with the passing of my brother passed away 13 years ago. So the dealing with the family situations that go around with health or wellness or what have you. What I've learned from all of that and the best advice I can give people when you have these setbacks and challenges is to try to just live in the moment and try to keep moving forward because the worst thing you can do is look backwards. I find that once I fall backwards, I tend to, it takes me longer to get back on the track that I'm at. So if you're here and you have a setback, which we all will, right? And that's one of the things that I try really hard to teach, young children or young kids as well, or not kids, apologize, young people, is that there will be a ton of setbacks and you have to be prepared for them. But when they go down, just try super hard to get back to where you can so that you don't continue to keep going down, because it's really hard to get back up once you keep going down on that path down.
Right. When I'm in coaching, I call it spiraling out or going down the rabbit hole,
I
because
like,
you keep getting deeper and deeper in there.
mhm,
And there's nothing empowering there to help you spring back forward.
yeah.
So yeah,
So,
that's definitely a good one.
yeah, it's true.
Now I gotta ask you here. Now you have such, it's like being in your presence is energetic, right? You have an aura about you. So
Oh,
I'm wondering, what is it that keeps you in that
oh.
frame of mind to be able to impact as many individuals as you have over the years?
You're so sweet. Thank you. So thank you. I feel like energy bounces off of energy, right? So every time I am with you, it probably is bouncing off of your energy as well. So I think that's very, very true. And I think that's exactly right. It's really hard. I've been working from home for um 18 years now. And working from home, being an extroverted extrovert is super hard. And so what do I do to do that? I have to surround myself, or I have to find a solid group. Actually, it's groups. It's plural. I have to find a solid, many different groups of people that actually give me that energy back,
Right.
because I love being high energy. I love it. And in order to stay that way in the world that we live in and all the wonderful challenges or rabbit holes that we go down, I have to surround myself with people that are going to bring me back up there as well too when I'm feeling down. So many times this is what I'll do. It's crazy, and I know that I've done this to you before. I will just randomly send someone a text or a message on LinkedIn or something. I'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" And then
Right.
that is being very authentic, and I'm not asking for anything. They can get back to me. They don't have to, but the minute that they get back to me, that energy just pours right in and it lifts me back up. And then I'm able to give that back to many people as well. The second thing I think is I really try to add as much humor. You can't add humor all the time, especially in like the working world. But I try so hard to try to add a little bit of humor, because honestly, without it, it can be really just draining every day. So whether, and my kids will laugh about it sometimes. Sometimes they don't think it's very funny, but even amongst childhood or raising, kids or what have you, you have to add a little humor to it. Otherwise, it's just not. You'll just look at back and be like, "That was just hell." So you have to add that humor. So humor, and then surrounding yourself with people that will kind of bounce off of you with that energy, which is why I contact you.
Awesome. Well, the feeling is mutual. Now, also, I know that you are well versed in a lot of industries. As you mentioned, you've worked at the nonprofit, you've been in software space, you've owned your own business. What is it that keeps you, I guess the word I'm trying to think of, hungry for more learning, right? And
Ooh.
all the years I've known you, you were always able to give me advice to
Mhm.
help me along the way. What is it that keeps you like, I got to read this book, I got to go to this conference? What is that thing for you?
Yeah, I really actually do that. It's funny. Believe it or not, I have a strong mentor that I've had for a long time. And he'll always say, "Well, we got to get smarter. We got to get smarter." And quite honestly, I think that's what I keep thinking over and over again. The minute that, I mean, it's super easy for someone who's been in the workforce for 30 years to say, "Oh, I know everything. I don't want to get smarter." And I actually have quite a few people that I know in my circles of friends or colleagues that are like, "Ah, you know what? It's just not worth it to learn." I'm like, "How can you not?" And
Right.
so I just love getting smarter every single day because I don't know everything. And it actually challenged myself just a little bit to get a little bit smarter. And so I think that that's probably it. Is I heard that early on in my career. Well, you just got to get smarter. And I do remember in my 20s saying, "Well, I went to college. I'm not going to read anymore." You know what I mean? And now I'm constantly, flipping through, just kind of reading everything that I can get my hands on just to get smarter. And so what that means, I'm not quite sure yet, but I think it beats sitting around watching TV, I guess. So,
Yes. Now that is something I did learn from you.
oh,
You
thanks.
don't
That's
watch a
good.
lot of TV. You do
I
not
don't.
watch a lot of TV. And for me, that is a lesson I took with me. I only watch TV, Cami, Fridays, Saturdays, and
My
Sundays.
gosh, that's so great. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Isn't it
Yeah.
great? Oh, that's so nice. That's nice to hear. I know. No, don't get me wrong. I do love to watch. And if anybody in my family like heard this, they would be like, you watch Law and Order SVU like all the time.
Me
So
too.
when I'm having that moment where I just need to like veg out for a quick moment, that's my go-to.
Right.
But really that's one of the only things that I ever watch. And I don't know why that is, but I think it's just we all have 24 hours in the day, right? And I like to try to keep them as jam-packed as I can. But there are times when I do veg out. So
Yes, and that's one of my shows too. So, and I record it. So if I need to watch it on the weekend, I can.
Yep.
So now this may be a tough one for you, Kami, but
Okay.
as you look over your tenure in leadership,
Hmm.
what is, I guess, 1 to 2 wins that you look back and you're like, gosh, I cannot believe I played a part in this bigger picture?
Sure. Oh, that's so interesting. Um, let's see. You know, before I came to Glimpse, so I've been here 6.5 years. Before I came to Glimpse, I did own my own business for about 10 years where I was actually working with software companies on the marketing and business development side.
Mhm.
And so I didn't have a staff or anything like that. So my leadership, I didn't lead anybody. But what I did do is believe it or not, it sounds crazy, but I was leading CEOs, which probably is more what you do, right?
Right.
But what I found is that by having 4 to 5 different software companies to help with their marketing or business development, a lot of it was spending time with the CEO to try to figure out what he or she wanted out of the company. And so while my wins may not have come back to me financially with their companies or they, acquired or moved on or what have you, and actually look back on some of those conversations and some of those CEOs and their success. And I truly believe their success came from not only from just talking to me and helping, me kind of counseling. It's not counseling. It's basically life coaching them or career coaching
Right.
them, right?
Right.
That's not what I was getting paid for by any means. And if you were to go back and ask them, um, if that's what I was doing, they would so not tell you that, but that's exactly what I was doing. And so to have that at the level of companies that I was working with in the connected car space or the telecom space, that type of success, being a leader, is actually makes me feel successful. And again, that doesn't come from a financial paycheck or a payout or anything like that. But just having those one-on-one conversations and allowing myself to be a leader to ask a CEO, and I know you've worked with CEOs before,
Huh?
um, they in general tend to, think they have the answers and stuff like that. But to be that authenticness and be able to pull that out of them, that to me is a true success. Doesn't have a paycheck tied to it or anything like that. But looking back, some of those CEOs are still my closest friends and colleagues that I keep in touch with. So
Well, you hit the nail on the head, actually twice. You talked about leadership not being a title, right?
Mhm.
It's more about you taking action, you're inspiring people, helping to coach and develop people. And I think that is a big takeaway. And the second one, and of course, it was many other jewels in here as well, is that your success is not always tied to finances. When I talk to people, that's how they measure it,
Correct.
is it's a financial gain. But when you talk about the people you've somewhat planted those seeds with, and
Mhm.
then later down the road, they're like, I remember Kami helped me with this, or Kami helped me have challenge my perspective.
Mhm.
I count those as wins as well. And
Yeah.
I'm like, when I see that unfolds and these people have these amazing things that have happened to them, and I just had just a small part in it, I count it as a win too. And I'm quite sure you've had tons of wins over your tenure in leadership. And again, I just thank you for being willing to share your story about the essence of leadership today. And I must say, in my opinion, you are a woman who is history in the making. So thank you so much, Kami, for your time. I appreciate it.
You too. I feel the exact same way about you. And I'm just so blessed that you're in my life. And it's exciting to be back together with you. And I will always be there for you. So thank you.
Thank you as well, and you have an amazing day.
Thanks. You too.